I, George Herbert Walker Bush, do solemnly swear.
In 1989, George Herman Walker Bush, at the age of 65, became the first sitting vice president to ascend to the presidency since Martin Van Buren in 1836. He won a decisive victory over Democrat Michael Dukakis. In his inaugural address, Bush laid out his goal.
I will go to the people and the programs that are the brighter points of light, and I'll ask every member of my government to become involved.
As 41st president, he was one of the most qualified candidates to assume the office, having had a long career in both domestic politics and foreign affairs. He knew government bureaucracy and had 8 years hands-on training as Ronald Reagan's vice president. Coming from a family with a tradition of public service, Bush was born in Milton, Massachusetts on June 12, 1924. He became a student leader at prep school, and on his 18th birthday, he enlisted in the Navy and became its youngest pilot. He flew 58 missions before being shot down over the Pacific.
One of these black clusters of anti-aircraft fire must have hit me because the plane went surging forward. I felt this jolt. I could see the fire all around, anti-aircraft.
He began dating 16-year-old Barbara Pierce in 1941 and married her 4 years later after the war. They had 6 children, including George W. and Jeb, who followed in their father's political footsteps. Bush went to Yale, where he excelled in his studies and sports. He was captain of the baseball team. Afterwards, he formed a successful oil business in Texas, and in 1966 was elected to his first of 2 terms in Congress. He quickly gained notice, and in the years afterwards, he was appointed to high-level positions, including ambassador to the United Nations and director of the Central Intelligence Agency. In 1980, he ran for president, but Ronald Reagan won the Republican nomination and named Bush his running mate. Seeking a second term in 1984, I interviewed the vice president in Dallas, where there was divisiveness among delegates over the party's platform.
There seems to be, though, a sense of discontent among many of the delegates here over the party platform, that it has moved too far to the right. Do you think that this will have a detrimental effect on...
No, I don't. And I'd ask rhetorically your viewers this question. 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was controversy over the Democratic platform. How many of you can remember one single plank, one single item that was discussed 4 weeks ago?
In 1988, Bush ran for president, and he won a mandate from voters. He brought to the White House a dedication to what he called traditional American values and determination toward making the United States a kinder and gentler nation. And he made a pledge to voters that certainly resonated.
Read my lips. No new taxes.
During his presidency, the Soviet Union crumbled. The U.S. military removed the corrupt regime of Panamanian dictator Manuel Noriega. In 1990, after Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, President Bush, with the help of the UN, put together a coalition of 34 nations to oust Saddam from the oil-rich country.
As I report to you, air attacks are underway against military targets in Iraq. We are determined to knock out Saddam Hussein's nuclear bomb potential.
After 5.5 weeks of aerial bombardment, the ground war began. Within hours, Iraqi forces retreated from Kuwait and surrendered. Though he had an opportunity to go into Baghdad and topple Saddam's regime, Bush instead declared the mission accomplished.
Aggression is defeated. The war is over.
After the war, Bush's approval rating soared to 84%. Critics, however, castigated him for not ousting Saddam from power. Despite his victorious foreign policy achievements, Bush, amid a growing recession, had his problems at home. He was unable to withstand discontent from the faltering economy and rising violence in inner cities. He was further constrained by a large budget deficit and a Democratic-controlled Congress. The burgeoning deficit was just too much to handle, forcing the president to raise taxes. Democrats capitalized on that, and in 1992, proclaiming, "Bush betrayed our trust, he raised our taxes." It may have cost him re-election when he was defeated by Bill Clinton.
There is important work to be done
And America must always come first, so we will get behind this new president to guarantee every American a shot at the American dream.
After leaving the White House, Bush reclaimed his life as a private citizen, returning to his home in Houston. He thrust his energy into preserving his legacy through his presidential library. All the while at his side was his lifelong sweetheart, Barbara. Their marriage endured 73 years, and he was at her side when she succumbed to failing health at the age of 92. President Bush leaves behind a rich legacy of political moderation, a man dedicated to American principles, a war hero, a husband, a father, a grandfather. George Herbert Walker Bush was 94.